Will you shut up, man?
Listen, China ate your lunch, Joe.
You're the worst president America has ever had.
Hey,
Come
Joe,
on. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
But you
I just
agree.
want to
Hey,
make sure.
Joe, you're the liar.
I want to make sure.
Graduated last in your class, not first in your class.
I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
No, he doesn't know how to do that.
You know what?
Absolutely not true.
5 days to the election, that sobering new number tonight as well. The number of new cases of the virus hitting a record level. More than 85,000 new cases in 24 hours.
For the last 2 nights, protesters have marched through Philadelphia, while looters have run unchecked.
A protest in support of police was met by counter-protesters angered by incidents of police violence.
Society tells me that I need to pick a side. What do I do with all this? I feel so conflicted about how I should respond. Do I need to pick a side? Just love them. But what side should I pick? Isn't killing evil? Shouldn't we fight for life? Shouldn't we fight to preserve the sanctity and holiness of marriage? Shouldn't we stand for your truth and your justice? Yes. Just love them. But they're taking down your 10 commandments all across our country. You are being taken out of our schools. There's a real persecution happening, and it feels like violent crime is out of control. Mass shootings seem to be happening all the time. It feels like we are in a war of good and evil, and I feel like I need to take a stand for you, Father. Son, I need you to understand that my commandments and my law are worthless if they are just placards on a courthouse wall. If you are so focused on bringing me back into the classrooms and the courtrooms, just love them. All of my law, every commandment, is fulfilled when you love me first, and secondly, love everyone like you love yourself. Think back to a time when you felt totally hopeless, hoping for the impossible, hoping for mercy, grace, and love. Your call is to be that mercy, that grace, and that love when it all seems totally hopeless and impossible. If you do that, you will keep my law, son. Just love them. But what about people trying to ruin America? What about my patriotism? What about all of those who serve to protect our freedom? This isn't your home, son. You are just a traveler destined for a different land. Don't get caught up in the things in your current surroundings. Don't you see? You're royalty. Adopted as my child. Your freedom comes from me and me alone. Just love them. But what about the Constitution? What about the First and Second Amendment? What about my rights? What about my freedom? Shouldn't I fight to preserve my rights and freedoms? Your freedom comes from me, son. Nobody can take away the freedom you have in me. I've told you that for the only reason that I want you free is why I set you free. Do you realize that you don't ever have to live under any kind of slave-like control ever again? Stand with me and just love me. But America was founded on your principles. America stands as a beacon of freedom and as a force for good in the world. Shouldn't I take a stand for that? No, son. I am the beacon of hope and freedom in the darkness, the only hope for the world. You don't have to worry about your rights and freedoms. The only thing you should worry about is loving the world. Just love them. But your word says that homosexuality is a sin. It says that killing is a sin, and the church tells me that abortion is killing babies. My son, haven't you sinned? Do you trust me? I promise, I've got all the babies covered. Just love them, please. Just love them. But what about all the people who blaspheme your name and mock you? Just love them. The only way they will ever know you are mine is by your love. Just love them. But shouldn't I take a stand against those blaspheming you? Shouldn't I take a stand for you? Yes, you should. By loving everyone unconditionally. If you judge others, my son, I will have no choice but to judge you. Look at Jesus. When he was on the cross, he said, Father, forgive them. They have no idea, no clue what they're doing. My son, you are the very real representation of Jesus on earth today. I've trusted you with the highest calling. Just love them. But it really seems like forces of darkness are advancing quicker than ever before. It feels like there are so many forces that seem to be gaining in momentum every day against you and against your truth. I feel so overwhelmed, outnumbered, and scared. I just feel like we're caught up in a losing battle. Son, have you lost sight of who you are? You're a child of the King over every president, ruler, and king from the past, the present, and the future. I need you to realize that the world may seem dark, but it's already been overcome. Think of when Jesus went to the cross. Everyone thought darkness had won, and they weren't ready for love to defeat the powers of darkness 3 days later. Please, son, I need you to realize the royal heir that you are. I need you on my team. You are part of my plan to redeem the darkest corners of the world. Please just love them. Just love them.